Speaking of aliens, Michael Jackson.
So Michael Jackson, innocent, trends on Twitter after judge tosses Wade Robinson's lawsuit.
So recently, we've spoken about it before, but Oprah put together a documentary called Neverland, which basically calls back accusers and tries to paint Michael Jackson as a pedophile again. And so they sued him again for the third time. Or in Michael Jackson's career, I think 1,700 and something time he's been sued by somebody.
That's crazy.
And once again, he was proven innocent. And now come to find out, the lawyers and stuff that had to go through so much fucking documents, paperwork, videos, people who interacted with him, they're actually coming out and saying Michael Jackson's flaw might have actually been he was just too humble. Like, yeah, he was a child or immature, I guess you could call that. But, like, he meant everything he said. It's just that we couldn't accept that he meant what he said. When he's just like, oh, no, I just like reading books and kicking it with my friends. Da, 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 da. I just like monkeys, you know. I like kids because kids are more honest and true. Da, da, da. And we're looking at it like, oh, you fucking weirdo. Da, 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 da. But he was just a guy who never really grew up around that type of shit. And he really was just a kid. He
never
meant
got
what
the
he...
chance to grow
Exactly.
up. He was a child star. He was constantly in front of the camera, constantly performing. Like, I would argue that kind of stunts you in a way.
Even his vitiligo. Everybody said he bleached himself. Then after he dies, can you imagine part of the autopsy report is finding out if this nigga had vitiligo? Like, that's something they have to, like, that's not something that needs to show up on any autopsy. But for some reason, that was important information for us to have. Guess what? He had it.
Man, I remember the vitiligo tripped me out so much because as a little kid, I saw Michael in his later life, and so I was like, oh, he's a white guy. And then I remember my mom showed me the Jackson 5, and I was just like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then, like, she couldn't explain the virus or the disease to me at the time, so I didn't understand it. And to me, like, I was just perplexed. And I think I saw, like, a VH1, like, behind the music thing, and I was like, oh, that's what happened.
Well, I actually don't know what vitiligo is. Can you explain it to me real quick?
You lose the pigment in your skin.
Oh, so he didn't bleach his skin. He had an actual...
He actually had a disease.
Interesting.
So, like, what way have we not shit on this man and been proven wrong? And then for him to still be... So after death, you're still trying. These guys are all 30-something years old trying to sue his estate. And what? 1,000+ lawsuits. Could somebody go to court that much?
I would assume if you have the finances to do it, yeah.
Not once.
It just reminds me of Dave Chappelle's joke where he's just like, man, the man's been dead for 10 years and he just got 4 new cases.
He's got 4 new cases beyond the grave. And, man, those lawyers, when the lawyers were speaking on him, man, that shit was hard to hear.
Yeah, and you pulled up this fact check. Fact check, was Michael Jackson absolved of Wade Robinson molestation accusations? And it says, a California court on Monday ruled that the estate companies of the late Michael Jackson had no obligation to protect the alleged victims of child abuse from the late singer and dismissed a long-running lawsuit against the Jackson estate.
Is that the one from the movie? I actually never saw the movie.
The Neverland documentary?
Yeah. Yep. I've never saw it either.
The one that's just literally...
I actually don't know much about like his accusations. Did any of them actually...
Never.
Make sense or something?
No. Like, did he actually get found guilty for any of them?
Never. 1,000 lawsuits. Not one. And he fought every single one.
Huh.
Never paid out a dime. Now, could you imagine, and this is what I tell people, because this is one of my biggest mental, like, not fears, but conversationally, I would hate to gang up on somebody or be super judgmental of somebody and then find out I was wrong in judging them. That for some reason, that's something that really sticks with me personally. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, this really bothers me because it's like, could you imagine somebody actually just being a good dude? And this is like every person that sued him, he tried to help. And they sued him because of it. That was what gave them the leeway to sue him. And now you're telling these kids you're being molested their whole life.
Well, actually, that's actually an interesting point you bring up. I'm curious, like, at the time, were the kids actually being molested? Or because of the situation, parents telling them,
Kids were saying they weren't touched.
That was molestation.
I'm telling you.
Like, at what point is it actual kid's experience or a manipulation of the experience by the parents assuming what happened because they're adults and kids don't know what's going on?
Do you think if...
Which, I mean, I kind of understand,
Me
though,
too.
like, honestly, but still, like...
It's like... But then also, if you understand... So, my question is, you believe in Michael Jackson enough, you believe in his childish wonderment and how he acts publicly, right? Enough to the point where you would send your kid to Neverland Ranch. You believe he's that fun guy and all that stuff enough for
That's
you
just
to
bad
send.
parenting.
You get what I'm saying? But
At that point.
then, his actual defense against your molestation charges is the guy who I presented to you guys is me. The reason you sent your kids here, that is exactly who I am. And then it's impossible. You have to want something from the kids. But you weren't thinking that when you sent the kids.
Why now?
Why now? His defense never changed. It's me. I'm a kid. I like to do kid shit, but I'm rich. I can behave this way.
Like, and that goes back to my point I said earlier. Like, he was a child star. Like, what makes you think
An
he wasn't
abused
stuck in that
child star.
Yeah, what makes he wasn't stuck in that mentality for forever? Like, imagine being that young and that famous and that wealthy, and then on top of the abuse he received from, as we know,
From his dad.
yeah. And now we prefaced in the beginning of this podcast the mental illness thing. Like, how do we?
Crazy. Of course, he had a mental illness.
I agree. I think, yeah.
Of course, and these kids also. I think they have mental illnesses now, brought on by their parents.
Yeah, I think the parents had to have been present when they were at Neverland Ranch, and also the sleepover stuff.
Dude, when I saw how many times he was sued, I was like, man, that's wild. That's wild. And to innocent every time, nigga, I don't know innocent people who would beat it every time. But he said, okay, cool, don't worry, I got money and time for all of y'all.
Yeah, he definitely had money.
Yeah, he owns the Beatles catalog.
Oh, wait, it actually says false. While Young's ruling effectively, is that double effectively? While Young's ruling effectively brought down the curtain on Robinson's lawsuit,
it's a typo.
although appeals are still possible, it did not directly rule on the allegations contained in the lawsuit. Young determined that Robinson couldn't hold the Jackson estate legally responsible for the alleged sexual abuse, but did not rule on whether the allegations were true.
Oh, because he already beat this case. This was them suing the estate for money for mental and
Damages, not
the damage. Yeah, my life. Fuck ass niggas. I swear to God, I seen one of them niggas. I beat their ass, and I'll say that's for Michael.
That's for Michael. Little Mike,
man.
Hey, thanks for watching a clip of Fake Deep Thinking. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, like the clip, leave a comment, and check out our page for more content. Full episodes of Fake Deep Thinking are released every Friday on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Peace.